Stay with me until the end, because the final lessons will completely change the way you measure your life. There is a quiet turning point in life that no one applauds, no cameras capture, and no one posts about, and yet it is the moment when real success begins. It happens the day you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" Self-awareness is the first and most powerful sign that your life is moving toward true success, because the moment you begin to understand your inner world, you stop being a victim of circumstances and become the creator of your experience. Most people spend years reacting to life, reacting to criticism, reacting to rejection, reacting to other people's opinions. But the successful ones pause, observe, and respond with consciousness. I remember a time early in my journey when every rejection felt like a personal failure, when one closed door could shake my confidence for weeks. I would question my worth, my talent, my future. But one day, after yet another disappointment, I asked myself a different question. Instead of, "Why didn't they choose me?" I asked, "What can I learn from this moment that will make me stronger?" And that single shift changed everything. Because self-awareness is like turning on the lights in a dark room. Suddenly, what once felt confusing begins to make sense. You start noticing your patterns, the way you doubt yourself before trying something new, the way you seek validation from people who don't even understand your journey, the way you sometimes sabotage your own growth because fear feels safer than possibility. And when you see these patterns clearly, something powerful happens. You realize that the biggest obstacle in your life was never the world. It was the stories you were telling yourself about the world. Think of your mind like a garden. If you never pay attention to it, weeds of fear, comparison, and self-doubt grow quietly and take over. But the moment you become aware, you begin to choose what you plant. Courage instead of fear, responsibility instead of blame, growth instead of excuses. Self-awareness is not always comfortable. In fact, it can be deeply uncomfortable, because it asks you to be honest about your habits, your reactions, your emotional triggers. It asks you to admit that sometimes your anger is really hurt. Your procrastination is really fear. Your need for approval is really insecurity. But this discomfort is sacred, because awareness is the doorway to transformation. Without awareness, nothing changes. With awareness, everything can change. You start catching yourself in moments you never noticed before. The moment you begin comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel. The moment you assume the worst about yourself after a mistake. The moment you let one opinion define your entire sense of worth. And instead of spiraling, you pause, you breathe, you choose differently. That pause, that tiny space between reaction and response, is where your power lives. Successful people are not those who never fail, never doubt, or never feel lost. They are the ones who notice their emotions without letting those emotions control their decisions. They don't deny their fears, they understand them. They don't run from their weaknesses, they study them. They don't blame their past, they learn from it. Self-awareness also changes the way you see other people. When you understand your own insecurities, you become less judgmental of others. When you recognize your own struggles, you become more compassionate. You stop taking everything personally because you realize that everyone is fighting their own invisible battles. And this emotional maturity is a powerful form of success, because peace in your relationships is worth more than any external achievement. But here is something many people don't realize. Self-awareness is not a one-time realization. It is a lifelong practice. Every new level of growth reveals a new layer of yourself. Every challenge becomes a mirror. Every difficult conversation becomes an opportunity to understand your reactions, And slowly, quietly, you begin to evolve. You start noticing that things which once triggered you no longer disturb you the same way. Situations that once felt overwhelming now feel manageable. Opinions that once controlled your confidence now feel like background noise. That is growth. That is success. And here is the spiritual truth. Behind all of this, awareness reconnects you with your authentic self, the version of you that existed before fear, before comparison, before the world told you who you should be. When you become self-aware, you stop living on autopilot. You start making conscious choices. You begin to ask deeper questions. Does this path align with who I truly am? Are my decisions coming from fear or from purpose? Am I chasing approval or am I honoring my truth? And when your life begins to align with your truth, a quiet confidence starts to grow inside you. No, the loud confidence that seeks attention, but the calm confidence that comes from knowing yourself. That confidence cannot be shaken by temporary failures or other people's opinions, because it is rooted in awareness, not validation. Let me share something important. If you are already questioning your patterns, if you are reflecting on your reactions, if you are trying to understand your emotions instead of running from them, you are already on the path of real success, even if your external life doesn't look perfect yet. Growth always begins internally before it shows externally. The strongest trees grow their roots deep underground, long before anyone sees their height. And your awareness right now is building those roots. But stay with me, because the lessons ahead are even more powerful. And if this insight about self-awareness is opening something inside you, the next truths will take you even deeper into what real success truly looks like. Many people skip these deeper lessons because they are chasing quick motivation, quick results, quick validation. But transformation doesn't happen quickly. It happens when you stay present, when you stay open, when you stay willing to look within. So don't rush this journey. Don't measure your success by how fast things are changing outside you. Measure it by how consciously you are evolving inside. Because the person who understands their own mind, their own emotions, their own patterns, that person becomes unstoppable. Not because life becomes easy, but because they become resilient. Not because problems disappear, but because they know how to face them without losing themselves. And that is the true power of self-awareness. It doesn't change the world around you immediately, but it changes the way you move through the world. And when the way you move changes, the life you experience begins to change too. So if today you find yourself pausing before reacting, reflecting instead of blaming, learning instead of complaining, celebrate that. It may not look like success on the outside, but on the inside, something extraordinary is happening. You are waking up, and trust me, what comes next in this journey of awareness and growth is even more transformative. So stay with me until the final points, because missing them would mean missing the deeper blueprint of a truly successful life. There comes a moment in your life when comfort starts to feel more dangerous than change, when the familiar routine that once felt safe begins to feel like a quiet cage, and that moment, when you choose growth over comfort, is the second powerful sign that your life is truly moving towards success. Growth is not glamorous. It does not arrive with applause or instant results. It often arrives disguised as uncertainty, rejection, long nights of self-doubt, and mornings where you question whether you are strong enough to keep going. But the truth is, every meaningful transformation in life begins at the edge of discomfort. Think about it. A muscle only grows when it is stretched beyond its comfort zone. A seed only becomes a tree when it breaks open in the darkness of the soil. And a human being only evolves when they are willing to step into situations that challenge who they have been. I remember times in my own journey when staying where I was would have been easier, safer, more predictable. There were moments when fear whispered, "What if you fail? What if you're not enough? What if you lose what you already have?" And fear always sounds logical because comfort feels like security. But comfort can also be the quiet enemy of your potential, because nothing grows in a comfort zone except routine. The moment you decide to learn a new skill, move to a new place, start again after a failure, speak up when your voice is shaking, or chase a dream that others don't understand, you are choosing growth. And that choice, even when it feels messy and uncertain, is the foundation of a successful life. Many people think successful people are fearless, but that is not true. Successful people feel fear deeply. The difference is, they don't let fear make their decisions. They move forward with fear beside them, not in front of them. Growth feels uncomfortable because it asks you to leave behind an old version of yourself. It asks you to let go of the identity you've outgrown, the habits that kept you small, the beliefs that once protected you but now limit you. And letting go is never easy. It's like learning to swim by stepping into deep water. At first you panic, you doubt your strength, you look back at the shore wishing you could return. But slowly, your body learns, your confidence grows, and one day you realize the water that once scared you has become your freedom. That is what growth does. At first, it feels like chaos. Then it becomes your power. There will be days when progress feels invisible. Days when you work hard and see no results. Days when you compare your journey to someone else's and feel behind. But growth is not a straight line. It is a quiet accumulation of effort, resilience, and faith. It is the decision to show up again after disappointment. It is the courage to try one more time after rejection. It is the discipline to keep learning when no one is watching. And every time you choose effort over excuses, you are building a life that is stronger than temporary comfort could ever give you. Comfort gives you relief. Growth gives you confidence. Comfort protects your present. Growth expands your future. One of the biggest spiritual truths about growth is this: life will keep presenting the same lesson until you are ready to grow through it. The same fears, the same patterns, the same limitations will appear in different forms until you decide to face them consciously. Maybe it's the fear of failure. Maybe it's the fear of judgment. Maybe it's the fear of not being good enough. But the moment you walk toward that fear instead of away from it, something shifts inside you. Because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the decision that your growth matters more than your comfort. And here is something powerful to remember. Growth often feels lonely. When you start changing, your habits change, your priorities change, your mindset changes. Things that once entertained you may no longer excite you. Conversations that once felt normal may start to feel empty. Some people may not understand your evolution. And that loneliness is not a sign that you are losing people. It is a sign that you are outgrowing environments that no longer match your future. Every level of growth requires a period of separation, a quiet phase where you are becoming someone new before the world recognizes it. And if you are in that phase right now, feeling uncertain, feeling stretched, feeling uncomfortable, don't panic. That discomfort is evidence that you are expanding. Successful lives are not built in moments of ease. They are built in moments of persistence when quitting would have been easier. Think about the times you wanted to give up but didn't. The times you tried again after failing. The times you kept learning even when you felt slow. Those moments may not feel extraordinary at the time, but they are shaping your character, your discipline, your resilience. the invisible qualities that create visible success later. And here is the deeper truth. Growth is not just about achieving more, it is about becoming more patient, more resilient, more self-aware, more aligned with your purpose. Because success without inner growth is fragile, but success built on personal evolution is unshakable. When you commit to growth, you stop chasing quick results and start investing in long-term transformation. You stop asking, how fast can I succeed? And start asking, who am I becoming in this process? And that question changes everything. Because life is not rewarding you only for what you achieve. It is shaping you through what you endure, what you learn, and how you rise after every setback. If you are currently in a season where things feel difficult, uncertain, or slow, take a moment to see it differently. Maybe life is not delaying you. Maybe life is developing you. Maybe the resistance you feel is not a barrier but training. Like the wind that strengthens the roots of a tree, the challenges you face are building your stability for the future you are asking for. And here's a powerful reflection. Comforter asks, what if it's hard? Growth asks, what if it changes my life? Every successful life is simply a collection of moments where someone chose the second question. So if you are stepping outside your comfort zone, if you are learning new things, if you are trying again despite fear, if you are walking a path that feels uncertain but meaningful, you are already successful in ways that matter deeply. Because growth is the real evidence of progress, even when the results haven't arrived yet. But stay with me, because the lessons ahead are even more powerful. And if this idea about growth is resonating with you, the next truths will help you understand something even deeper about the journey of real success. Many people stop at motivation, but transformation happens when you keep going, when you stay open, when you allow each lesson to reshape your perspective. Don't skip the final points, you'll regret missing them. Because this journey is not just about achieving more in life, it's about becoming someone who can handle, sustain, and truly enjoy the success that is coming your way. There is a quiet shift that happens as you grow, and it's not something people talk about enough. Your circle begins to change. Not because you've become distant, not because you think you're better than anyone, but because your energy has become more valuable to you. And this is the third powerful sign that your life is moving toward true success. You begin choosing peace over popularity, depth over distraction, and alignment over approval. In the early stages of life, many of us measure our worth by how many people surround us, how many invitations we receive, how many messages light up our phones, how many people validate our presence. We believe being liked is the same as being valued. We believe being busy socially means we are living fully. But as you evolve, something inside you begins to question that noise. You start noticing how certain conversations leave you drained instead of inspired, how some environments make you shrink instead of expand, how some relationships quietly feed your doubts instead of your confidence. Growth sharpens your awareness of energy, and once you become aware of energy, you cannot ignore it anymore. I remember a phase in my life when my world was full of people, full of events, full of constant interaction. And yet there were moments when I felt completely exhausted inside. Not physically tired, but emotionally heavy. It took me time to understand that not every presence adds value, and not every connection supports your growth. Some relationships exist only out of habit, history, or convenience. And success begins the day you give yourself permission to ask a difficult but powerful question. Who in my life brings me peace, and who quietly takes it away? Because your environment shapes your mindset more than you realize. If you spend your time around negativity, comparison, gossip, or small thinking, your energy will slowly adapt to that frequency. But when you surround yourself with people who challenge you, encourage you, respect your boundaries, and believe in your growth, something incredible happens. You begin to rise without forcing it. Energy is contagious. Mindsets are contagious. Vision is contagious. And the people closest to you will either expand your world or unconsciously shrink it. This is why as you grow, your circle often becomes smaller. Not because you are isolating yourself, but because you are becoming more intentional. You stop chasing attention and start protecting your attention. You stop saying yes to everything and start honoring your time. You stop entertaining every opinion and start listening only to voices that add clarity, wisdom, or perspective. And here is the truth. Many people struggle to accept not everyone who walked with you in your past is meant to walk with you into your future. Growth changes your priorities. Growth changes your habits. Growth changes your values. And sometimes, when your direction changes, your company must change too. This doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop abandoning yourself to keep people comfortable. It means you understand that protecting your peace is not selfish. It is necessary. Because without peace, you cannot think clearly. Without emotional stability, you cannot grow consistently. Without the right environment, even the strongest mindset begins to weaken. Think of your life like a garden. If you plant healthy seeds but surround them with weeds, they struggle to grow. But when the environment is clean, supportive, and nourished, growth becomes natural. Your relationships are that environment. They are either sunlight or shade, nourishment or noise. And one of the strongest signs of success is when you start choosing sunlight, even if it means walking away from familiar shade. This phase of life can feel lonely at times. When your circle becomes smaller, the silence can feel uncomfortable. Weekends may look quieter. Conversations may become fewer. And sometimes you may wonder if you are losing people. But what is actually happening is something deeper. You are creating space. Space for clarity. Space for focus. Space for the right people to enter your life. Because when you stop filling your world with the wrong energy, life has room to bring you the right energy. And the right people don't just entertain you, they elevate you. They remind you of your strength when you doubt yourself. They celebrate your growth instead of competing with it. They respect your boundaries instead of testing them. They speak truth to you, not just comfort. And here's a spiritual truth that changes everything. The quality of your life is directly connected to the quality of your emotional environment. You don't need many people. You need the right energy. You don't need constant attention. You need honest connection. You don't need everyone to understand your journey. You only need a few people who respect it. Another sign of growth is when you become comfortable being alone without feeling lonely. Because solitude is where clarity lives. It is where you hear your own thoughts without outside noise. It is where your intuition becomes stronger. It is where you reconnect with your purpose. Many people fear being alone because they have never learned to enjoy their own presence. But successful people learn to value solitude because solitude strengthens self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. When you are no longer afraid of being alone, you stop tolerating relationships that drain you. You stop staying in environments that limit you. You stop seeking validation from people who don't see your vision. Instead, you begin to walk with quiet certainty. No, wing that peace is more valuable than popularity. And here is something important to remember. As your circle becomes more intentional, your conversations will change too. You will talk less about people and more about ideas. Less about problems and more about solutions. Less about the past and more about the future. And these conversations will shape your mindset in powerful ways. Because the words you hear daily become the thoughts you think automatically. And the thoughts you think repeatedly become the life you create. If you find yourself stepping back from certain environments, setting boundaries, spending more time alone, or choosing fewer but deeper connections, don't worry. You are not becoming distant. You are becoming focused. You are not losing people. You are finding alignment. And alignment is one of the strongest foundations of long-term success. But stay with me, because the lessons ahead are even more powerful. And if this realization about your circle is resonating with you, what comes next will shift the way you see your entire journey. Many people understand growth and discipline, but they miss the emotional and spiritual elements that truly transform a life. Don't skip the final points. You'll regret missing them, because success is not just about what you achieve or who surrounds you. It's about the energy you carry, the peace you protect, and the mindset you build through every stage of your evolution. And as you continue this journey, you'll realize something beautiful. When you choose peace, clarity, and the right energy, you don't have to chase success anymore.